Ken, how are you doing tonight?
Good evening, Rob. Thanks for having me. Yeah, looking forward to talking to you and see what's going on back east in Merrick. I haven't been in Merrick in a while. I have a lot of good friends in Merrick, so it'll be fun. I'm smiling ever since I heard the location.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, Ken. I also appreciate you taking your time spending it here with me on this Sunday night. As there's always, especially in beautiful California, I'm sure you've got plenty of other things to be doing on a Sunday night like this.
Well, you know what? Sunday is just probably what you guys are just watching the ball game, and so we're getting close to halftime. So first game was a really good game, and this one's turning into be a bit of a shootout. But it'll be interesting to see who comes out of it with the winner and get ready for the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. So just like everybody else, you've been watching the games all day, and before we get into your great career and everything with the Jets, I just was wondering, watching this game today, specifically the NFC Championship game between Green Bay and Tampa Bay, we saw Tom Brady today, and this guy at 43 years of age still looks like to be in prime condition. He's heading to his 10th Super Bowl, which just seems mind-numbing at this point to that he keeps adding to his resume. At any point today, did you sit back and just marvel at the fact that this 43-year-old guy is taking yet another team to a Super Bowl?
I've been doing it for years, and it's just really amazing. You can say what you want. He was in a great situation in New England with a great scheme on offense and defense. But I think when you have the success he's had and the stars line up perfectly for him, he has a guy like Bruce Arians who's going to let him come in and do what he does when they get comfortable with each other. And I think as they got more comfortable during the year, he kind of delegated more and said, let's let it go because the guys in the team are responding to him. And he's kind of willing them, showing them the way. He didn't have, I would bet if you talked to him, he didn't have his greatest game in the world today. The interceptions and they weren't all his fault either. I think there was a little, miscommunication there. However, he won't be happy with those. So there's still a lot of room for improvement. And, at 43 to be doing what he's doing is amazing. No one's as physically gifted as he was when he was 23, certainly. But his mind's working better than ever, and more importantly, he has the confidence of all the guys on the team. They believe in him, and there's no question about it. And I think that's what gets these guys over the hump.
Yeah, I totally agree, and especially just like you said, he had his moments today where he had 3 interceptions. He had a day where he threw 3 touchdowns. He also had 3 interceptions. So, but you know what? When you come out at the end of the day with the victory. And the thing that really blew me away was at the end of the first half when he just reared back and threw that touchdown in the corner to put them up 21-10. That really just almost knocked me over. What a fantastic pass that was.
Yeah, it was an awesome play. It was really poor, shoddy defense. How you can let that happen right before the half. I think Aaron Rodgers is still wondering how that he's probably thinking, just give me a chance to make a play like that, in that situation. But the one thing you can't do is get beat deep behind you in the last couple seconds of the half or a game. It's, inexcusable.
Very true. Very true. And, I just one more thing about that game. At the end of the game, they had Aaron Rodgers, in, 3rd and goal. They don't get it. They opt to take the field goal to make it 31-26. What did you think of that? I mean, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, slam dunk. And, you have him in this position with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. What did you think of opting to kick the field goal there instead of leaving it in Aaron Rodgers' hands?
Well, you know what? I don't second guess that stuff usually, but I will tell you that I was watching the game, and when it happened, I couldn't believe that they didn't do it. I thought I had missed something. I thought maybe there was more time left in the game than there was. Mm-hmm. You needed 2 touchdowns at that point, regardless. So you might as well. You needed a touchdown at that point. You needed 8 points. Mm-hmm. So I think, it's. I'm not sure why. I don't know what the reasoning was behind it, but I would have went for the touchdown for all the reasons you mentioned, with Aaron Rodgers and everything else. But more importantly, you needed 8 points, and you have one down, and I would, if I'm putting the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands, I'm feeling pretty good about my chances right there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then you really couldn't blame him if he didn't make it, because just like you said, you're putting the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands. So, it's
and then you're getting it back again. Then they're getting the ball down there in, tough field position. If you can stop them, you get the ball back a little bit sooner and you have another shot at it. But, it all happens and why Green Bay had their chances. They had chances to come back and do it. It just didn't work out for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even though they came up a little bit short, still had a great year nonetheless. And,
really did. Yeah.
When we're talking about, big time passing moments and coming through with big years and everything, something about that. As you're a former first round pick, you were in that amazing, really, if you really look back at it and crunch all the numbers, one of the best quarterback drafts in the history of the NFL. In 1983, you were picked 24th by the Jets. One thing I'm wondering too is, a lot of people tend to think before that mid 80s resurgence, that the Jets were still, a pretty bad team. But when you were coming into the Jets, they were coming right out of an AFC Championship game appearance. So what was your familiarity with the Jets at that point, and how were you, what were your expectations coming into that first season?
Hey, well, Rob, it's funny. I was born in New York. My mom, my dad, all my uncles are New York City cops. My cousins live on Long Island, right in Lynbrook and all over the place and all throughout New York. So, I was always a Jets fan. When we'd go back and visit when we were kids, my uncles would take us out to go check out the Mets and go to Jet practice. So I met Joe Namath when I was just a little kid back there, and it always stuck with me. So it was pretty awesome and surreal to come back at the end of the day and be back in New York and have a chance to catch up with relatives that, when you're all the way across the country, you don't get a chance to see at all, let alone often. And it was for me, it was an awesome time. It was a great situation, and the team was good, like you had mentioned. They had played really well. Richard Todd was the quarterback who became a good friend. It was a great player, and my expectations were to come there and see how I fit in. What they wanted me to do and see how I fit in. And it took a year or two. We started playing and you just get moving. That's all. But made a lot of great friends over the 10 years in New York. Those relationships last you the lifetime. So it's pretty special time.
No doubt about that, especially coming up as a lifetime Jet fan. Did it mean something to you to play? Even though I know in the '83 season that Todd started all those games, you didn't appear in a game until '84. But did it mean something to you to be part of that Jets team that was the last Jets team to play at Shea Stadium before you moved into the '84 season into Giant Stadium? Because for a lot of Jet fans, the nostalgia of them playing at Shea Stadium and everything is through the roof.
And I agree with it. I mean, I'm that's where you practice. That's where home is for all the guys. That's where home was for all the guys on the team. And that's where the fan base was from. And, it's certainly out of the players' hands, but, I certainly do wish that we would have never left Shea Stadium and, figured that thing out because, or stayed in the area. It would have been a much more awesome experience, as a player, as a fan, as everything to have your own place. Going to the Meadowlands, certainly shifted, a bit of that as you look back on it, but, it was, that 1 year at Shea, I loved everything about it. I loved the whole atmosphere there, and it was different. It's hard to feel that in the Meadowlands.
I agree. And just, I'm a younger Jets fan, and just having seen the old clips of them playing, the 81 playoffs at Shea, and the 82 playoffs and even the earlier stuff with obviously Namath and everything, in 68 and 69. I love seeing those old Jets Shea Stadium playoff games and just games in general. It really makes, it's really something that I really love from a historical aspect. And just like you said, it's something that really hits home close to a lot of Jet fans, especially in this Long Island area.
It's nothing like playing in your own backyard where where people don't have to travel an hour or 2 hours each way to get to the game. And as far as playing the game, when you're playing it on natural grass, on real earth, it's just so much different than playing it on the AstroTurf. Now it's a lot nicer than it was then. It's not a carpet thrown over concrete like it was in the Meadowlands, but
Yeah.
just playing on grass and seeing, the mud and the dirt and everything else that comes with the inclement weather. It was a special time, and I wish we had stayed there for forever, really, and kept playing.
Yeah, that would have been amazing, but it was not to be. But what was to be was that you were going to be one of the the Jets starting quarterback before you know it. I mean, obviously Walton really. He was the offensive coordinator. He comes in, he gets promoted to head coach. The first couple of years, nothing really happens, but as soon as they install you in 84, what did it mean to you to, at the end of that season, get that starting quarterback's job? And actually to add on to that, do you think it helped you as a quarterback that you sat for that first year and a half or so and got to learn behind guys like Richard Todd and did that help you at all?
Well, let's see. I think Joe, first of all, was a really, really great offensive coordinator, and I think when they ran into an issue with Walt Michaels, who I didn't know Walt Michaels, but when I heard guys in the team speak about him, the veterans who became my friends, and the respect and the admiration and the loyalty they had for him after the fact. It was telling why they were good and how he brought that out in them. I think he was able to coach the way, I perceive coaching to be. You tell them this is how we're going to do it, and you give the guys confidence all the time. Let's go out and let it rip. And players respond to that. And, when they made the decision that Walt was not going to be back there coaching, Joe was on the staff and they brought him in, obviously. And he had to get acclimated to being a head coach. That's all. And it's hard I think it's hard, especially in today's game, to do both, to run an offense or run a defense. You got to be more of a, overseer, CEO of everything and make sure everybody's doing things the way you want. And, you're the one that everybody takes their cue from. So, you take the coach's personality on the field. And, you can see that with guys today, like Andy Reid, and how they respond to him and go down the list of all the successful teams. And I think that's what you're kind of looking for. And for coaches too, it's a learning curve. And, it's funny we're talking about it because the Jets are going through that situation right now. And, I was thinking about that before our call, but I think there's something to be said for hiring young guys who haven't been through it. And let's see what they can do. I'm really interested to see what the new coach does because I've watched him in San Francisco and prior and heard all the good things and heard the guys in the team speak about him in high regard. So I think they hit a home run here, and I think he's going to be a special guy for them.
I totally agree. I loved his introductory press conference. I thought he hit a home run, which you can do, and it really satiates a fan base that really didn't warm up to the hiring of Gase. And then once, we saw the product on the field, a lot of fans just really couldn't take it any longer. But then you see this guy coming in from the Niners, and he just has a personality that really just grabs you. And I totally agree. I think hiring these young guys, and guys that we've seen start off young, like Belichick when he became a head coach right after leaving the Giants, and even a guy that you're familiar with, Pete Carroll, who was your former, defensive coordinator at the Jets, and then you even went on to work later with him in the UFC, in USC. I think that they both really fit the mold of a CEO type coach, and I'd love to see Coach Salah have an impact like that.
Yeah, I think that they have a lot of draft choices. They need from. I'm not an expert on it. I love watching them and rooting for them, and I like rooting for Sam Darnold and the team playing. But they need to upgrade, my opinion only, the talent level there, so they can compete on not only every season, every game, but every play. that they know that they have guys that are going to win on every play, and those special kind of players. And I think that's what you're shooting for now. So you have to be able to evaluate that kind of talent, get it in the building, and develop it when it's there. And you have to, how you develop it is up to the coaches. You know, my 2 cents isn't going to matter much to them, but if you have the right guys there and you make them believe they can play, they'll play for you. They're all really, really good players. All they need is a little direction.
I couldn't agree more. And, you mentioned Sam before, and I'm a big fan of Sam. I think that, just like you said, it's part of the reason that a lot of the talent around him really hasn't been up to par. But, as a guy who spent the first year learning, in the backup role, before you got your first taste of starting action in '84, do you think it could have helped Sam to spend the first year on the bench? Maybe if they could have held on to Fitzpatrick for a year or two longer and had him learn under a pro like that, do you think that could have helped him? Or do you think that, him getting thrown right into the fire as a 20-year-old, was really the right move to do for him?
Well, I guess that's the big question, but I think everybody's different. Some people can learn from, picking it up on the blackboard and watching film and then going out and executing. Some people need to practice it themselves, execute it before they can do it. And some people need to watch other people do it. So I think you have to make the best of the situation. If you're watching another guy, you got to try to help him and learn along the way yourself. But there's no substitute for playing. And when you're 20 years old and you're playing, you want to be with a group that's got the ability to help you get there. And if you're with a young team, a team that doesn't have maybe all the strengths that they're hoping to get in the future, then it becomes tough because everybody's not on the same page. And as a young guy, you're fast. You're on double time to try to make it happen, but everybody else has to be there already. And I think that's the tough part. If everybody else isn't there, it makes it really difficult to jump in there with a young guy because he doesn't know himself. But if, like when I was with the Jets, a lot of guys around me were veteran guys, and they helped me throughout me playing, and that was very, very beneficial for me. They knew what they were doing. And just basically, they would, if there was ever a question, I could ask them, they could tell me what was going on. And when you're 20 and nobody's there to help you, it's a bit of an empty feeling, I would assume. So you really have to coach them up well and do what they do well and stay in their comfort zone. And, we'll see what happens this year. We'll see what what happens with the Jets, what they try to do at the quarterback position. And, I know they have a lot of questions, but I still think very highly of Sam. And, I just know that when not pressure, you put pressure on yourself to do well. You want to do well because you know everything's going on, and you end up, when I see bad decisions being made, what I think are bad decisions from 5,000 miles away on television, it just points to somebody who's not real comfortable and confident in everything that's going on. And you got to get back to that because I think he's got all the talent in the world. He's a really good player, and he's a young player still. So you got to take all that into consideration and make your decisions. But I think his future is going to be really strong and bright wherever it may be, and hopefully it's with the Jets.
Yeah, I really hope you're right too, because I definitely have high hopes for Sam, whether it be here or not. I know there's a lot of speculation right now about potentially Desean Watson being available via trade. Who knows if that's even going to materialize or not. So, there's no reason to get your hopes up about a guy that's not even, a realistic opportunity at this moment. But I really think that if, because just like you said too, Sam Darnold really, to me, in a lot of these quarterback situations, it seems like the quarterback is the final piece that you should put in. But it seems like in Sam's situation, he was the first piece. And there was really not much around him. Like for you came into a very good team at that point, like you said, and were able to grow into that role and take a good team and make them better. I feel like almost Mark Sanchez came to the same situation when he was drafted in 2009. Now things didn't really work out with Mark, but he came into a made team and took them to the championship game his first 2 years in the league. I feel like Sam, maybe not might have had that success, but he has that potential to get, results like that, like like a Mark Sanchez did 10 or so years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all about how everybody comes together. That's why football is so fun. It's not one guy, it's everybody. And you have to, look at Kansas City playing. How many receivers, guys, do they have that, they can put the ball in 4, 5, 6 different guys' hands and they're going to make plays. And, that's why they're in the Super Bowl. That's why they won the Super Bowl last year. That's why they're in the championship game today. And all those teams are. I mean, you look at the Packers today. Although they lost, they're a great team. Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal. And he's got Devontae Adams, and he's got a couple of the receivers who nobody knew about, 2 or 3 years ago, playing well, a tight end doing the same thing, and the running back. Everybody kind of elevates their game together, and that's what you have to build on. And those are fun times, but you have to have the talent there to get it started, and it takes everybody working, and it starts at the top.
Couldn't agree more. Very well said. And, as we're, I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time here, Ken, to spend it with me here on this Sunday night, on Championship Sunday, as a matter of fact. But before I let you go, I just want, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, Week 3, 1986, one of the best, NFL regular season games ever played. You guys took out the Dolphins 51-45 in overtime. When you look at this game and you think back to those moments, I mean, the stats really jump out at you. To me specifically, I was looking at Wesley Walker. In that game, you hit Wesley Walker for a 65-yard touchdown, a 50-yard touchdown, a 21-yard touchdown, and a 43-yard touchdown to win it in overtime. What was working so well for the offense that day, and what made those games against the Dolphins so fun?
Well, if they'd let me throw it 5 more times to Wesley, we probably would have had 5 more touchdowns. But he was a freakishly good player, and he's a great guy and a friend and a stud. And I think that over that course of time, Joe had a feeling that anytime you play the Dolphins, it would have to be a shootout or you wouldn't win. Mm-hmm. So we kind of got away from the more balanced style that he was comfortable with, and we kind of just threw the ball. We threw it around and we'd get going, and we kind of just let it all fly. And when we did that, we seemed to be at our best all the time, but it wasn't something, I guess, that they were comfortable doing. Now, in today's day of football, that's an everyday game, right? I mean, they're throwing the ball all over the field, and it's great. We're circling, hey, here's Wesley Walker, here's Al Toon, here's Mickey Schuler, here's Freeman McNeil. How do we get the ball in our best players' hands? And then do it. However you have to do, make up ways to get your best players the ball in their hands to make plays for you. And in those days, it was more, okay, we're going to be balanced, we're going to run, blah, 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 cloud of dust, and we're going to play action. And it was just a different philosophy. But if you're a quarterback, there would be no better time to play football than right now, because it is just it's wide open, and they protect you when you're in the pocket. You don't get hit late and hit cheap like you used to. So it's an awesome time to play quarterback, and I think that's why the games are so fun. Because it's always exciting. There's always a chance you can come back and make something happen, and I love watching games on TV from college, whether high school, college, professional. It's just a blast to watch it, and I'm looking forward to watching the second half here tonight, and then the Super Bowl in 2 weeks.
You got that right, Ken. And we got, as you mentioned, the championship game, the AFC title game, is at halftime right now. The Chiefs are up 21-12. I'll let you get back and enjoy it, but before I do, what's your pick for the final tonight, and what do you think about the Super Bowl?
Watching it tonight, I like to see change, and I like the kid at Buffalo, Josh Allen. Seems like an awesome kid and making plays. They're having a tough time stopping Kansas City now, and I think if you can't stop those guys, you're in trouble when you have all the weapons they have. So right now it looks like Mahomes is back, and as long as he's healthy with his head and his foot, I think they're going to be tough to stop in the second half. And then when you go to the Super Bowl, Kansas City has the more talent, I think, but how do you rule out Tom Brady? So it's going to be a home game. You know, it's a crazy concept, but it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. I wouldn't bet against Tom for sure, but I think with Bruce there, Arians, it'll be an exciting game no matter who gets in. The ball is going to be flying all over. You're going to have nice weather and big plays because there's a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, Ken. You got that right. Well, thanks for taking the time to spend here with me tonight. Enjoy the second half, and I look forward to talking to you at some point in the future.
Well, thanks very much, and you guys have a great night. Everyone stay healthy, and let's hope for another great second half and a great Super Bowl in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Ken. You too.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. And all right, so thank you to Ken O'Brien for joining me here tonight. As definitely, like I said before, we took him on the Mount Rushmore of Jets quarterbacks, as he is second only to Joe Namath in passing yards, touchdowns, and wins. One of the best of all time to do it in the green and white, no doubt about it.